I guess without any further stalling, we can get into this if you're ready.
I'm ready. Are you ready, chat?
Are you guys ready for this low percent wolf speedrun? Low percent bat speedrun? Y'all are ready for this? Perfect.
Y'all ready for this? Jock jams.
I will need some coffee for this because this run is a doozy, in a lot of different ways. But let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get started. You can see everything. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the volume up a tiny bit. That seems to be fine. Right off the bat, starting in luck mode, it's actually required for this run.
Yeah, if it wasn't, I mean, it's not technically required, but if we want to finish this run in a day, it's required.
Yeah. For the sake of the speedrun, yeah.
Yeah, we need a lot of drops, so we need that luck.
Yep, so there's that attribute of it. There's, in general, when it comes to the low percent categories in this game, there's a handful, but this one in particular I always found the most interesting.
Yeah,
it's the only low percent category I've ever completed a run of, for reference. But it's...
And just so people know, low percent bat means I'm gonna finish the game, but the only relic I'm gonna collect is the bat relic, Soul of Bat.
Yeah, in general in speedrunning, low percent categories tend to just focus on the minimum required collection of, different collectibles or whatever to beat the game. And so there's a handful of ways to do it with just a single relic. So there's different categories for that. Low percent bat being one of them, low percent wolf. I think low percent mist is technically doable RTA, and some people have done it, but I don't think I've seen a run of that, honestly.
The Squall has one low percent mist run that I've seen.
Okay.
I've been thinking about doing it, but then I got distracted with doing nothing for a while.
Yeah, that seems to have
so
happened.
yeah, as you saw, it was a very standard prologue. I didn't need like a neutron bomb, so I didn't bother collecting 41 hearts. Because we're in luck mode, I'm just gonna do ye old big toss skip.
Yep, the classic. Everyone did this as a kid, I'm sure. You went into the game FAQ and looked up cheats or whatever for this game, and this was definitely something you would see.
Yeah.
How to
so
skip
as you can
death.
see, I re-equip as soon as I get big toss, because otherwise I won't be able to equip stuff since the start menu will be disabled.
Yep.
That's called thinking.
Yeah, is there a purpose for re-equipping actually everything, or is it just for consistency or whatnot?
It's just so I can have a sword through this room.
Yeah. Okay. Because I think I remember in my low percent, sorry, not low percent, but zero bosses, you don't re-equip everything because you go for some big tosses later. So I was wondering if that would be a factor, because I can't remember absolutely everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Unlike zero bosses, there's only one big toss in this category.
Gotcha. Nice.
We have very other ways to perform shift line tricks, and by very other I mean extremely other.
Yeah.
And extra.
The start of this run is pretty tame compared to how it's going to progress later on. Also, for clarification, this is ran on the Xbox 360 version, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I picked up the leather shield because shield spell is going to be used for a lot of these shift line and RSLs. And I have Alucard shield, but leather shield will save some mana.
Yeah. Yeah, it costs less mana to use overall, and it gives you the same desired effect of pausing the screen in place.
And for comedic effect.
Yes, of course. I think if once we get to that point, you can spam, I think cow skip works in my chat.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, so when you see it, you'll know what to do.
When you see it, you'll know what to do, yeah. Good old cow skip. I mean, cow skip hasn't been relevant in... It started in all bosses. That hasn't been relevant in such a long time. Since reverse shift lining, really. And using reverse shift lines to skip death. There's no need to use the leather shield anymore, so...
Yeah, what's fun about this category is you're gonna see both. We have both kinds of music. No, you're gonna see both kinds of shift line glitches: regular shift lines and RSLs.
Yep. The naming of those always kind of confused me, but it really does make sense when you understand what those glitches really are doing. Essentially, a shift line you can think of as opening the screen up a little bit, making a gap wide enough for Alucard to fit through, and you can get out of bounds that way. The reverse shift line, the opposite of that, is you're actually pushing the screen closer to Alucard, and by doing so, it essentially just warps you to the next screen by messing with like the X position of the screen, and it underflows, and then it sends you to the next screen basically.
Yeah, you basically like overlap the screen. So a rule of thumb I find works is if you're trying to slip in like the crack in the floor in one room, that's a shift line. But if you're like skipping an entire room, that's a reverse shift line.
Yeah. And they're both taking advantage of the way that the screen camera movement like affects Alucard's positioning basically, or the way that he interacts with the edges of screens.
So yeah, this is all really standard so far. It's like standard clock rush, although
the only difference is no Cube of Zoe, so you don't have access to the stopwatch, so that you actually have to fight Doppelganger coming up, but it's not much of a fight.
Yeah, you have all the gear, so it's not really a fight at all.
Mm-hmm.
A fight in name only.
In this category,
there's no real clock rush in this category, although it is you do have to go to the clock room and through the statue at points, but I got really lucky. And it's totally based on luck at this point when you get the statue open. There's no because even in this early phase of the game, I have to farm for items. That's going to be like the first thing on my to-do list right now, is I'm going to farm for a flamberge because I need to do dive kick and I can't get wolf relic.
Yeah, overall this category has a lot of interesting workarounds to some of the. It's more of like a puzzle category in a weird way. Like the interesting ways that you have to go about passing certain obstacles, which we'll get into. But yeah, in this category, I was gonna ask if I could remember. Is there like a specific experience route that you're going for early on, or do you just kind of adjust your experience once you get to those parts where you need level ups?
That is a really good question, DragonBlitz. And there is no route because before any and spoilers, there are going to be some level up shift lines that you're going to see. And that's entirely dependent on my EXP level at the point that I need to perform those. Yeah, an experience route would help if I didn't have to start farming for things, even at this point in the game. So before I commit these level up shift lines, I have to farm for stuff, and it's totally random when I'm going to get it. So I can't rely on being at a certain level when I have to execute those shift lines. So yeah, I kind of just have to adjust my route and then make up for deficits in my experience when I get there.
Nice. Yeah, that's
we're
one
gonna
of the
see that.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting things about this run that can be a little annoying, but
so I'm unequipping some stuff so I could damage boost up here. I think this takes a while, so you could even scrub through some of this.
All right. But yeah, overall this category has you going to Clock Tower without any relics, and you saw the specific jumps earlier to not break the bridge. Those are very useful in like randomizer and stuff like that if you're trying to do stuff out of logic, and useful for this category. But unfortunately, this trick is kind of a pain in the ass. I think we're gonna see it here.
Yeah.
You're fully just reliant on the Medusa heads to give you a good pattern. There you go.
Yep. Oh, here's a funny moment. So I'm at like a really low health, and I try to heal, but I really fuck it up in like the most hilarious way.
I'm curious to see how that goes. Oh no, I already know what's happening.
Isn't that great?
Oh, but you know the only reason that happens is because that room's misaligned.
Yep.
It
like should have worked. It had enough room.
Yeah. There's like a pixel or two where the screen just like it's not enough for Alucard to fall through, but I guess those items have just like a small enough hitbox that they can squeeze through the gap. This room is just buggy. You can do some weird like warp shift line stuff just because the way that it's misaligned.
I was very afraid that the run would be over at this point.
Yeah. 10 minutes in after, starting up a run, kind of annoying.
Yeah. It would, it's more of like a false start than an aborted run, but, still 10 minutes of wasted time for something really stupid,
Yeah.
like throwing a pot roast off screen
Yeah. And
is annoying.
this category itself it's a marathon of a category, that's for sure. Like you're in it for the long haul.
Oh, yeah.
For reference, my only completed run is over 4 hours long. So, and you're not even
That's
like
a very decent time for this category, by the way.
yeah, you're not really oh, nice cheese drop. In case you need to heal again. I guess you could just get this life max up here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, overall, this category takes a while. There's a lot of luck involved. But overall, the interesting thing about this category is just, I think, the problem solving and the specific tricks. But here, we're going to see a lot of grinding. One of the nice things, or not nice things, actually, about this category is when you're killing this Cloaked Knight, the way you kill him is important, because if you kill him over the gap and you get the Flamberge drop, it'll just fall. And you don't get to keep the Flamberge, and you have to get another one. And it's one of the rare drops in the game. I don't think it's technically the rarest, but it's up there.
Yeah, it's definitely up there for rarity, and it can totally just drop through the center. So I'm being very careful to make sure that he's over the stairs and not over the little gap. Also, shout-outs to Mecha Richter, who helped route this. I think he might actually be responsible for like the main route, but he got some help from one of the Tazers. He couldn't recall who helped him out the last time I asked.
My money would be on Deskball
with the RSLs and how to actually get to the rooms that are locked off to him.
Yeah, my guess would definitely be Disqual. Disqual seems to be the one that always messes around with the low percent shenanigans.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was Disqual as well.
Okay, this farm, if I'm like looking at this didn't seem too bad. I think we've been here for about like 4-ish minutes so far.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I've had this happen within like a minute. There it is.
Yeah, I think
pretty fast.
Anything under like 10-ish minutes is probably fine, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because like that, it is purely random whether you get the drop or not. I'm pretty sure that Flamberge used to be the thrust sword in low percent Wolf as well. But they changed over to using Claymore, which you have a higher chance of getting. Yeah, low percent.
But unfortunately, at this point, there's in low percent Wolf it works because you can obviously get Wolf, so you can dive kick to get to the Coliseum. But for here, the Coliseum is currently off limits to me. Yeah. Or it was off limits before I got Flamberge.
Yeah, there's no way to get there without some form of dive kick. You can't even like go there from the other side in Chapel. If you could, then it'd be possible, but there's a switch blocking your way.
So yeah, I've got Flamberge, so now I have the ability to dive kick and get to the Coliseum, which is, I think, the next thing I'm gonna do because I need a shield rod.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I need that to basically do a lot of the other glitches that you're gonna see in this run. So yeah, I'm taking the teleporter now. Just to get back to the outer wall.
Makes sense.
And then from there, we'll be going Coliseum. I'll be hoping for a pentagram drop on the way. There are 2 passes through that long hallway where the Diplocephalises are. Mm-hmm. And every time I go through there, I'm hoping for a pentagram, but I didn't actually get one, so I have to come back there later just to farm for a pentagram.
Gotcha. Yeah, the pentagram is required for a very specific skip that's quite late into the run. Yeah, 2 of them. Yeah. But yeah, isn't there... I don't remember farming for a pentagram in my run. Isn't there one that's available somewhere?
How am I supposed to get a pentagram? There's one in Caverns.
Okay.
I don't know if there's one before Caverns. Or at least
you need at least 1 pentagram drop because you use the other one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was. Now I remember.
Yeah, you use one before you get Duplicator.
Yeah.
And getting Duplicator is an ordeal.
Yeah. So this run, basically requires you get duplicator because later on you're going to be using.
You have to farm for 33 heart refreshes.
Yeah, exactly. So farming.
I did the math, and that would take about 8 hours at least.
Yeah. So in order to
good luck.
In order to save time, instead of farming for all of those heart refreshes, it's actually faster to farm for duplicator instead.
Yep.
And the way that is done is it's fun. Some of you might, if you were around for the April Fool's randomizer seeds that we did, you'll find it quite familiar.
Yeah, you'll see where this is going.
But yeah, here I'm imagining you're grabbing that onyx.
Yeah.
Just because it's a free onyx.
I need that for library cards.
Oh, yeah.
I use 7 library cards, I believe, in this.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because you can't get the garnet otherwise to purchase stuff. Yep. But yeah, going to Coliseum. Normally, in most runs, you go to Coliseum to grab the Mist Relic. Obviously, this is a low percent category, so you're only going to be seeing the Bat Relic get acquired.
Sestrin, you're gonna see. We're gonna be hitting that spot up a little later in the run, but it's in Coliseum.
Yeah. With this setup, it's the fastest, at least, for farming for duplicator.
So here I am picking up the library card, and you'll see that I avoided killing these enemies because at this point, one of the next, I shouldn't say one of the next, but yeah, it is one of the next. One of the upcoming glitches is going to require me getting a level up screen freeze. So I'm trying to minimize the XP I get so that I don't level up, before then, thus requiring me to farm a lot more XP because I basically need to execute an RSL with only a single EXP left for my next level up.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to get my XP level just right. So in order to do that, I'm going to avoid killing unnecessarily killing enemies, I should say.
Yeah. Oh, those Blade Masters, yeah. It's like a proximity thing, whether they decide to slide at you or jump over you when you walk towards them. It's weird.
Yeah, they're weird.
There is a way to consistently manipulate them, but yeah, overall, sometimes you just get kind of unlucky with your positioning, and it's hard to tell. But yeah, this next trick coming up, I think, it was one of the reasons why I wanted to learn the category. But then after practicing it and doing the trick, I realized I never want to do this category again.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I think I've gotten it down to the point where I can, you're gonna see that I basically do all of the. Well, I don't even know if you can tell just by watching it. But I do all of the RSLs by feel and by eye, so I feel like I've gotten pretty good at that. But it doesn't make the RSL into the area where the Venus Weed is, the one that you were practicing the other day.
Yeah, and
finding a setup for that. It doesn't make that RSL any easier. That one always sucks.
Yeah. In general, general rule of thumb, you have. Let me think about this. Alucard's hitbox horizontally is only 7 pixels wide, even though Alucard's actual sprite is much wider. But the actual way that Alucard interacts with the game, it's only 7 pixels wide. So in order to create a reverse shift line that works, I think it needs to be at least 7 pixels. Yeah. Or for the shift line, you need to open the shift line at least 7 pixels or more. And then for a reverse shift line to work, I think you have less space technically. I think it's only like a 2 pixel window at most.
Yeah, it's much. The window is much smaller for an RSL than a regular shift line.
Speaking
which
of
is
RSLs,
good. It should say easier than the regular shift line.
Right here, you're going to be seeing an RSL. This trick is not too bad, but it is pretty awkward compared to all of the other different kinds of tricks that you would see in a normal Soten run. Because you can open a reverse shift line with a backdash, but you can't backdash out of the Shield Rod spell. But you can also open it up with a dive kick, and that is also possible to do after a Shield Rod spell. So in order to become actionable to the point of having a dive kick, you do the thrust attack midair, switch weapons to the shield rod, and here, yeah, you're map buffering to find the right positioning.
Yeah, I'm just doing this by feel. I'm like, I can tell like right before I'm about to scroll the screen. And so I buffer the shield spell and then dive kick in the other direction.
Yeah, buffering the shield spell is also important, just to ensure that you get it like on the right frame, because otherwise you'd have to press both the shield and the attack button on the same exact frame, and there's no need to add extra difficulty to these tricks, which are already so difficult.
Yeah. So I'm buying a shit ton of library cards and an elixir and a mana prism. Yeah, that's the first shift line glitch in the run. Won't be the last. I had the library card out of there obviously because I don't have Jewel of Open and I'm not going to be able to buy it in a low percent run.
Yeah, so you would just be stuck in that room with the blue door if you didn't have the library card to escape. But yeah, I guess to explain exactly how the shift lines work, as far as like how you perform them, you basically want to walk up to the point where the screen is about to scroll. So first you need to be at the edge of a screen, walk towards the center right before the screen is about to scroll. You need to walk into the area where the screen normally would scroll, and on that frame pause the screen in some way. You can do this with a level up, you can do it with a heart refresh, and you can do it with the shield rod spell. And the next frame after, you need to leave that area so the screen basically doesn't scroll. I think it's only allowed to scroll by one frame at most. Or not one frame, but one pixel at most. So, and the way that we do that in this run is by dive kicking out.
For the most part, that is true, but for the skip that gets into the Venus Weed room, it's pretty. You have to scroll the screen a lot more than you'd expect before you execute the RSL, and I do not know why that is.
Yeah, that one in particular is... maybe that screen is also misaligned. It's possible.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because that is such a weird skip.
Yeah, I was messing around with it yesterday, and most RSLs you're able to get a 2-frame window on in order to actually perform the reverse shift line. That one, I could not find a way to get 2 frames.
Yeah.
So it makes me believe that the screen might be misaligned, or there's some other shenanigans going on. Soten is really, really weird in a lot of these.
Yeah, it's a weird. There are so many glitches in all the different runs that are just like snowflake glitches.
Yeah, it's like one of a kind, no like purpose in any other kind of run, but
yeah,
some of these glitches I think really inspired some of the runs that have happened. Like Pacifist is primarily based around like the revenge tech stuff.
And the revenge tech in itself is a fascinating example of this very principle, where like there are like every boss has its own revenge tech trick.
Yeah, it's like it's a general glitch, but also has like very specific applications in a weird way. Like certain enemies it has to be performed differently. It's a trip. Anyways, you're farming for that pentagram, so I guess we can speed this part up.
Yeah, it took a while to get the pentagram, unfortunately.
Which is really unlucky. It's not that uncommon of a drop.
Yeah.
I mean,
pretty unlucky that it took so long to get it.
I feel like 1 out of every like 10, 20-ish clock rushes, I at least get 1 pentagram. So, something like that.
All right, well, I finally got it.
Especially because you're playing in luck mode, too. That's wild.
I know, it was crazy how long it took. But yeah, now I have to. Now I'm gonna farm for XP because I've got the mechanism for the level up via the pentagram. Now I need to set up the level up itself. So I'm gonna need to farm until my XP to the next level is just 1 XP.
Mm-hmm. And at this point in the run, there's decent number of enemies that give you a decent number of XP values. Are you going to be... Yeah, you're going to be farming off the spectral sword or whatever?
No, I'm going to be farming off the dudes in the hallway before the teleporter. Hammer Bro.
Oh, yeah, they give a decent amount of XP, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think at this level in the game, they give like 160 XP.
Nice.
So that's pretty good. Like in one pass, I should say. So they're like 80 XP apiece.
Gotcha. So then I'll go ahead and get to that point. So yeah, these guys you're going to be killing just with the Alucard sword.
Yep. And I'm just going to be checking my XP to make sure that I'm not, gonna level up accidentally. And then
Takes about 3 minutes based off of.
I
what
get to
just
the
saw.
point where I'm like under 100 XP left, and then I start farming here. This is foreshadowing.
Yes,
This is basically what I'll be doing at a later point in the run for like a solid hour. I'll just be in this room.
makes sense.
But yeah, at this point I'm farming XP and not gems.
So in total, you probably spend like close to 6-ish minutes, from my estimation, on just setting up your experience for this next trick. And this next trick it's a doozy. I wouldn't call it the hardest. It's probably up there as one of the hardest tricks in this entire category.
I think it's at first, like the first time you try it, it definitely is really like it's confoundingly difficult. But then once you figure it out, you can definitely do it first try.
Yeah.
I managed to do it first try in this run.
It's by no means inconsistent. It's just there's no good setup for it. You just have to be good at performing this particular trick.
Yeah, there's no real setup for any for any of these glitches.
Yeah.
And this one has some very weird buffering.
Yeah.
Like incredibly weird buffering going on.
Yeah, so the way that map buffering in general works in this game is you're pulling up the map, and then you use the start menu that normally pulls up the menu where you can equip things. You use that to close the map, and then you reopen the map. But in this category, there's a couple of buffers that you do by doing it the opposite way, where you close the map and then try to open the menu on the next possible frame. And then you use the menu as a buffer. And the reason why you do that is because you need to actually change your equipment mid-buffer. So it's wild. We'll get there.
In this glitch, I need to change my equipment 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
In the span of an RSL.
Yep. And that
It's
requires that would be 3 frame perfect menu inputs then, because then at that point you can't actually buffer them. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean they're all buffered, luckily enough. I wouldn't be able to like triple frame perfect anything in this game.
I'm trying to remember how that works, but I guess
It's just really weird. Like
Yeah.
you have the order. There's a little leniency for when the map is closed. That map close animation that you can start buffering your your inventory input.
Oh, that's true.
But at the same time, you're also buffering a pentagram.
Yeah.
It's super weird.
So I guess that does make sense. Yeah, it's like a 3 frame window, I think it is, from opening and closing the map before you have control again.
Yeah, that sounds right. That's how it feels anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so here we go. This is all. Well, I won't spoil it, but yeah, we're opening up a shift line so that I can fall through the right hand side of the screen.
The way that shift lines require at minimum 2 screen freezes at this point, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Otherwise, it would be like pixel subpixel perfect to only get 1 screen freeze off of a dive kick. No, I don't even think that. You need something that sends you 7 pixels, so it would have to be a big toss. So big tosses are the only things as Alucard that allow you to open a shift line.
And you're gonna see me set this up incredibly carefully. Like I'm not gonna actually execute I'm not gonna trigger the pentagram until I'm absolutely sure that this is gonna work. Because otherwise, since I fucked up my XP, I have to reload from that save and go all the way through the zombie hallways.
Yep.
Just to get back here again and try it.
Yeah, I think when I was performing this trick, I saved at like 7 XP left.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to count each individual enemy that I killed along the way, because these zombies give you literally only a single experience point, and that's exactly how much you need for the next level up here. But yeah, the level up is 100% required to pause the screen, and then after the level up, you're performing the shield rod.
Yep. So it's a level up into shield rod shift line. So I'm waiting for, and it's very strange how I have to be a little bit left of the camera the camera scroll trigger line before I start executing, and I'm just doing this by feel.
Yeah.
There's there's a little bit of an indicator as to when you should start dive kicking, but even then I found it's not incredibly consistent. to look for like the visual cue. So I'm really just doing this by feel. And yeah, like I said, just being incredibly careful because I don't like it wastes so much time to have to reload and come back here.
Exactly, yeah. This trick I think was one of the main things that made my run take so long. I actually got incredibly lucky with the farming sections, and then I just spent like I think it was close to an hour on this trick. Oh, and you're going for it.
Going for it. Yeah, this is I'm feeling myself. This is the one. So I just executed the pentagram into inventory buffer to switch to the shield rod leather shield, and now I'm buffering shield spell.
Yep.
So I'm getting 2 screen freezes in a row during a dive kick.
That
and
opens
then I
up
have
the
to be
shift
really
line.
careful here.
Oh
As
my
I
God.
fall, I'm holding right until I get to the bottom of the screen, and I have to hold left so I don't clip into the merman room.
The first time I ever performed this glitch, I didn't know what to do once you open the shift line, and I just got stuck under the floor in the water, and it was just a soft lock. It feels so bad to go through all that trouble just to open that shift line, to get into the jewel sword room, and then it's just over from there if you screw up the movement afterwards. I think I tried doing it with like a holding jump or something like that, and I made it way harder on myself. Like the way you do it just makes so much more sense. Just press right and then press left at the right timing. You have a couple of screen flashes to kind of go off of. So.
Yeah. And again, it's just something you need a feel for. I'm getting cursed like a mother right here. Yeah. But yeah, that was all just to get that's all just to get Jewel Sword, so I can now farm for jewels for a duplicator. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be heading back to Coliseum to that skeleton room. And then, the next hour of the run. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is farm for a Ring of Varda, because that'll give me a slight luck boost, but every little bit helps.
Oh, I never did that in my run. That's smart.
I'm not sure how much it helps, but I figure
it's like plus
might as well try it.
20 luck. So that might
it's 10 or 20.
That might unlock just the chance of getting like diamonds and stuff like that alone. So.
Yeah, that's the idea. Is hopefully you get more of the rarer gems that sell for more in the shop.
Yeah. The way that the jewel sword works in general, is it possible to get a diamond at 0 luck? I don't think so, right? You need a certain luck threshold in order to get the higher. I'm not 100% sure on that, but at least from my understanding, you need certain luck stat before you're able to get certain gem drops, and every enemy in the game has like the same gem drop table, from my understanding as well.
Yeah.
Which is why this farm session tends to be preferable, because it's enemies that you can kill in a single hit, and they're all lined up for you in one room, and you can respawn them really quickly. It's like takes 2 seconds to reset ish.
And yeah, Cold Mage, this definitely was the inspiration for the gem farmer preset.
Yeah. So here you're getting that Varda. I guess we can just kind of fast forward through that. You're just reloading the room, killing that dude a couple of times.
Yep.
Still about here-ish, it seems like. Yep, you just gotten the Varda drop. Right. On this attempt. And that took you a couple minutes. In the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot of time for this run. Like, if you're able to do anything to increase your odds within, I don't know, like if it takes you 2 minutes to get something that'll save you, potentially tens of minutes for the rest of the run. But yeah, this is it. This is the category.
Yeah. This is like, you should put on a playlist at this point, because you're going to be doing this over and over. I'm going to be doing this. It takes you do this in 4 installments until you get 99 aquamarines. And then at that point, it's worth teleporting to the library to sell all your gems.
Yeah.
And then you just walk back here and try it again.
Yep. I think I skipped forward by about 15-ish minutes at this point, so you've just been doing this for about 15 minutes straight, and this is before the first library card. But in general, zircons, you're going to get a ton of them, but they're not worth anything. A full stack of zircons is they sell for 150 each, so 150 times 99. It's not that much. It's not
a lot of money. Yeah.
And then
so you just basically ignore the zircons.
Yeah. Do you even sell them at the shop? You go through selling all 99
zircons? Yeah, I sell them.
Yeah. still worth selling them since you
it's probably not worth selling them, but
yeah,
whatever.
I mean, it's money that you have in the moment, so I guess over the period of 6-ish trips back to the library, it might be worth collecting. It's not worth going back just for the Zircons, but the Aquamarines are at that money threshold that it is worth going back for because they are so common. It's going to be one of your main ways of collecting money. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's like 20k, so it's nothing to sneeze at. Well,
15.
14k.
Yeah, almost 15.
Might as well.
Yeah, because the total number for duplicator is 500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in 7 trips, 15 times 7, what is that?
105.
105. Yeah, so I mean they're definitely worth selling then. If you're gonna take multiple trips, because that alone will help a decent chunk. But yeah, that's basically the whole run for the next hour-ish. Is you backtrack all the way to Coliseum from there, and then start it
can
up
be done
again.
in about 4 trips to the library usually. 4 or 5.
And yeah, you're really hoping for like diamonds, opals, garnets, if you're lucky. But in general, the most common is Zircon, and then Aquamarine, and then it just goes up with rarity.
Yeah.
So
it's only worth taking those trips once you get a stack of Aquamarines, of course. But yeah, Dragon4gonBlitz is mercifully skipping ahead, so you don't have to actually sit through all of the farming as I did.
Oh, that's more farming, It looks like, okay, and then you go for XP farm here, so that means your last teleport happened at around an hour and 40 in, and you started the farm sesh at about an hour. So about 40 minutes to get a duplicator.
40 minutes is not bad, honestly.
Yo, Ziggy,
so I'm guessing
so
that the
much.
Ring of Hearted does actually provide a significant boost.
I would think so. I think over a long period of time, it would tend to trend towards being better overall, especially because you got it pretty fast.
Yeah.
So there's no other way for you to really increase your luck. You're not going to have luck potions available. You're not going to be able to get other lapis. That's in the second castle. Yeah, overall, an hour and 40 minutes in, and still has collected 0 relics. In fact, you don't collect a relic in this category until like the last 10 minutes of the run.
Yeah, it's basically, and once you get Soul of Bat, this is all a build up just to farm for duplicator and then a second heart refresh. Mm-hmm. And then once you have 2 heart refreshes and duplicator, you can get Soul of Bat, and then it's just any percent.
Yeah. It's any percent it's any percent with less MP and less movement potential. But in general, Bat is all you need to beat this game. Like if you started with the Soul of Bat, you could probably beat the game in like 10 minutes. Like it's so absurdly broken. But in order to get the Bat and only the Bat, it requires this is the only way we know of, I'm pretty sure, right? The shift line, not shift line, but the double heart refresh shenanigans.
Yeah.
It's been theorized.
It's the only way we know of to get into that room without mist.
Yeah, it's been theorized that there might be other stuff, but no one's ever been able to make it work. There's like weird screen scrolling that you can do at Lesser Demon that like can get you out of bounds, but it doesn't actually get you into the room where mist is. It's like actually very, very difficult to do.
So very early on in the run, the first shift line that I executed was to get into the switch room behind a jewel door to open up caverns. And then after I farm to get within like a certain threshold of my next level, I'm actually going to be heading to the caverns for the first time.
How much experience?
So this is just farming for XP at this point.
How much experience do these guys give?
At this point in the game, I forget, but I think it's like. Hold on, let me see. It was 1329. I'm probably gonna check again after I go through this room.
Let's see. I'm curious. 329 1268.
So like less than 100 XP.
For both of them, yeah. That's still better than the farming method I did, which was killing the sword over and over again. The only reason you do that is because each individual sword piece gives you 1 XP, so it's like a total of like 20 XP regardless of what level you are. So
Yeah, and you're close to a screen transition, so it's easier to reload the room. So I can see why you would do that. But
this probably ends up being faster, like
yeah, this is
marginally,
definitely faster.
Yeah. At this point in the game, they may not be the enemies that give you the most experience, but they're probably the most convenient to reset for, as well as it's very close to where you need to go next.
Yeah, this is definitely the most convenient spot to level up in.
Yeah, because after this, you need to go to the caverns to get into the area just to farm for the heart refresh. Because there's only one place in the second or in the first castle where you can get a heart refresh, and heart refresh is like absolutely crucial.
Yeah, so it's not about the most experience, it's more like experience per second. And these guys have the highest experience per second that you have access to.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're going to be doing this for a little while, probably like another 2 or 3 minutes ish.
Yeah.
And then from there,
we're heading down to the caverns to perform another really stupid shift line glitch.
Yeah.
This is going to be a level up into heart refresh.
Yep. Which it's convenient that you get the duplicator now. Otherwise, you'd have to farm for 2 heart refreshes later on, which would be absolutely insane. Yo, what's up, High Blitz?
Yeah.
What exactly is
it
being...
would be really, like, at that point, you know. And I actually, in this run, like, well, I don't want to spoil things, but I got insanely lucky in this run.
Nice. Just as a reminder for those who may be tuning in a little bit later, this is the current world record for the low percent bat category in Castlevania Symphony of the Night. You're beating the game while only collecting 1 relic, which is the bat relic. We've already shown off a ton of interesting, fun glitches that are only available in this category. But yeah, it's interesting. We're getting into one of the more meatier tricks as well. This one sucks. Do you not save for this?
I do save, but it's after I pick up the pentagram.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So you don't have to make that trek every time. Because this trick, if you fail it, it's basically run over if you don't have a save. Because you don't have the means to... Like, you'd have to start farming again to set up the next level, which is even farther away from the level that you just got. So...
Yeah. And you're going to see, like, you know, because that pressure is on, so you're going to see me be very deliberate when setting this one up as well, because you know, it's again if I fuck it up, I have to reload my save and then make my way back through, you know, the spear knights and the frogs and shit, and I don't want to do that, so I'm going to be very deliberate before I actually execute the glitch.
Gotcha.
And I do fuck it up at least one time. I believe.
What's up, Bill? Thank you so much.
All right, so I'm being careful with my XP. I don't want to get to the point where I'm gonna level up. But yeah, there's like there's a deficit here of XP I'm gonna get where I know that I'm safe. I'm also, for every attempt, I know that I'm gonna kill some frogs on my way to set up the glitch. So I have like a little bit of a threshold.
Yeah, just a little bit of a window of experience. 9 experience seems about right. 9 to 7-ish seems reasonable because there's a handful of enemies here.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be at like 5 when I save. I forget. We'll see.
No problem. I appreciate it, Will.
I'm at 7 now. Oh, I guess I do save at 7. I think I think later I kill 1 and then save again. But I could be mistaken.
Yeah, but just to fast forward a little bit because it is going to be more backtracking after the save. Oh yeah, you get a different experience value. And here you're using the pentagrams just to clear the screen. It's more convenient than trying to slash at them with a sword, because frogs in this game are the worst.
Yeah, easily the worst. All right, so I'm at 1 XP.
You have to.
I think 6 is ideal.
So the whole
6 XP is ideal.
The whole point of this trick is this wooden bridge. We need to get past it. And the only way to do that is either by spawning the Donkey Kong skeleton to throw the barrel, which is not possible to do right now because there's no way to get to that switch. We don't have any
Yeah,
other...
I don't have. For reference, I have no relics. I don't even have Jewel of Open. I had to glitch into the caverns to begin with.
Yep. So this trick is... Oh, you could already tell that it was...
I
the wrong
already
decision.
messed it up.
Yeah, this one's tough because it's very similar to the other map buffer tricks where you have to use the pentagram. The hitbox for the pentagram comes out in like 4 or 5 frames or something like that. Maybe even sooner, actually, now that I think about it.
I think it's immediate.
There's
at least the damage aspect of it.
There's at least 1 frame because otherwise you wouldn't be able to open the menu in between. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, I guess you're right.
Because you're opening the menu before the level up animation starts because you need 1 more frame after that, right? No. It might be immediate. Actually,
it's true, but I think you see damage sprites on the first frame. I could be wrong though.
No, I think you're right. I think I'm mistaking pentagram for a different weapon. It's like neutron bomb has a couple of frames before it actually. Yeah, that's what I'm mistaking it for. No, that's the reason why you do it here is because it is immediate. But yeah,
and that's why I do it with the pentagram.
So you have a 1 frame window then because you have to pentagram, because on that frame it's damage, and then in the next frame the level up animation starts, but you're able to actually cancel that. Oh, that sucks.
The problem there was I used the pentagram while there were fish skulls loaded, so I killed them and leveled up by accident.
That's funny. But yeah,
I gotta wait till I'm up there to actually use the pentagram.
But yeah, you have the level up animation itself is a 2-frame animation. The level up starts and then the screen pauses on the 2nd frame. And you're using that 1 frame gap in order to equip the heart refresh in order to do a level up heart refresh. But yeah, this setup is because you use a backdash, right?
Yep.
So that means it is frame perfect, or sorry, pixel perfect. The setup.
Yeah, but it's all buffered. Thankfully, it's just all the complexity in this one is just having the frog cooperate and then being in the right position.
Yeah, it is 1 pixel window, but I mean you have all the time you need to set up that exact pixel.
Yeah. It's just you're dealing with frogs.
Yeah, you're trying to set up
very unfortunate.
You're trying to set up the position. Meanwhile, this frog at any point could just jump on at you.
Yeah. I need him to cooperate. Every time I get in the position, this frog seems to like tongue me.
Yeah.
It's really annoying. But yeah, I'm basically looking for Alucard's right hand to be in this little. There's like a divot in the background.
I can see it.
That's almost perfectly hand shaped, and I'm just kind of trying to line it up with that.
There's a lot of pixel positionings that are just like that. You just need to know exactly what to look at on Alucard's sprite and where it is in the background.
Yeah, so this frog is either like jumping at me and attacking me with his tongue, or he's going off screen.
Yeah, and if he goes off screen, then you can't get the level up, so...
It's really annoying.
He's barely loaded there. Oh, he's coming back.
Frogs are cute. I agree.
Yes.
But they're uncooperative.
Yes. They have a mind of their own. And it looks like this should be it.
Yeah, that was definitely it.
Nice. So yeah, that's opening up a shift line. Again, pixel perfect, double, screen freeze. And then there you need to...
Very carefully edging towards the end of the screen.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that one always gives me a heart attack.
Yeah.
Because
we're through.
Because you need to immediately hold left after you start falling, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Otherwise, you get hit by... Because the way that it reloads you, it'll reload you into, like, right on top of the frog, basically. And then you'll take damage, and then you'll fly out of bounds. And I think it's a soft lock.
Yeah, it's an instant soft lock if you go too far right.
Yeah. So, again, a difficult enough trick on its own just to get the frog to cooperate. But then if you screw it up on top of that, it's even more of a pain in the butt.
Speaking of difficult tricks,
yeah,
we are at easily the most annoying and difficult trick in the run.
Yeah.
This one is... I screw this one up in every possible way, I believe. So we're going to see just a gallery of how you can fuck up this clip.
You can thrust sword, right? to make it up there and then just dive kick? Is that what the plan is?
You can just jump from that.
Oh.
You can just jump from that little slope.
Oh, I never figured that out. I think in my run, I think I had to dive kick off the candle. I'm just bad at platforming.
It's really annoying position wise. So you can see I keep messing it up.
Yeah. But yeah, the save there. Why do you save?
Why did I save there?
Yeah, because you can. Oh, because if you fall down, you can't make it back up. Oh yeah, I forgot. This trick fucking sucks.
This trick really sucks. Like it's difficult to set up with only with no relics and using a flamberge to dive kick to shield rod. So there's no real setup for it. Like you just have to know like the feel of it.
Yeah.
And pray. And even if you get the shift line, like you still might mess up the clip part because you're basically clipping through a solid wall, which can just push you down.
Yeah, it's so you need to open the shift line, which is like a 1 pixel window to open the shift line, and then on top of that, the way that you interact with the edge of the screen, like your speed that you have going into that is will determine whether or not the shift line actually works or not. Because if you're going too fast, you'll skip over the small portion of the screen that activates the warp, essentially. But if you're going not fast enough, you won't make it through the wall that you're trying to clip into. And if you like clip not all the way through the wall, but partially through the wall, it'll zip you down. And then that's basically, you have to reset at that point because you can't make it back up. You don't have enough relics to walk back up here and try again. So yeah, this whole setup is a pain in the butt. And then sometimes you'll do everything correctly, and then you go to thrust sword into the wall, and you go too fast, and it doesn't activate the shift line. Or you're not going fast enough, and then you zip down to the bottom, have to reset. So I imagine this takes a little while, as you said.
It does take a little while. There is a thing, I'm not sure if you scrubbed through it, but at one point, I go into my menu, and the game soft lock.
Oh, I know why that happens. There's a Xbox 360 specific glitch where if you open the menu, pause the screen, open the menu, open the map, or open the Xbox specific menu by pressing start instead of the back button, when the music is trying to loop, I think it turns the music off, and by doing that, the next time you open your menu, it's a soft lock. So the best way to know whether or not that glitch is happening is if you notice there's no music playing, don't open your menu. Like, go save the game. I ran into this when I did my 100% speedrun, where I'm just going through the same areas over and over again, opening my menu a bunch to like re-equip luck potions over and over again. If you happen to skip the music in some way, or like cut the music out and then open your menu again, it's just a soft lock. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah, so I was like pretty confident that I got the shift line, and I go to switch back to my flamber so I can thrust here. Yeah, there it is.
Here it is. Yep. Yep. You hear right there it was the actual. I'm gonna try and turn the sound up. Oh, you already had the music off from that menu before. Yeah. So if you listen to the music, it should be playing once he leaves the menu, and then when he opens the next menu. Yeah, this is the end of the track.
Yep.
Around the end of the track. Maybe it was, Maybe that's not why it happens. But yeah, you can hear here there's no more music playing. And then the next time you open the menu, which is going to be right after this, looks like you got the shift line, opens the menu, soft lock.
Yep. Game just freezes.
Yep.
Stuck on a black screen.
And there's nothing you can do. None of the inputs work except for opening the Xbox menu, quitting the game, and then you have to start over. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt.
So that was the first setback, and then the next unfortunate event that happens is I get the shift line, but I didn't have enough height as I thrust sorted through the screen transition, so I get pushed down. I get pushed down through the screen, and I'm soft locked. So I gotta again reload the save.
Oh, there it is. Let's see that happen in real time. So it looks like you just, yeah, you're setting it up. Oh, yeah, the thrust didn't come out.
Yep.
That's what happens. You'll so what you're doing there is you're jumping in the air so you have enough time to make it through the screen transition, and then you have to press back, forward, and attack. And if you don't do it in quite the right way, if there's maybe an extra input or something in there, or I don't know the actual leniency for that input, but some of the inputs in Soten are a little weird, and they're easy to mess up.
Yeah, and you want to execute that thrust like right before the screen transition.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, if you get it during the screen transition, your inputs get eaten.
Yep.
And you don't get the thrust, and you
just fall.
You soft lock.
Yeah. Oh. This is going to be you actually executing this the trick. This is what it looks like when it's executed and you make it to the other side. Oh, just kidding. I skipped over it. So again, all of this set up to scroll the screen, dive kick out of that screen scroll, and then re-equip the thrust sword here, so that way you can thrust through this next screen transition. There it is. Yeah, and
there it
barely
is.
enough height. If you were a little bit lower, it might have clipped you into the floor, and that's a different soft lock, where you're on the other side, but you're in the floor because you were just a little bit too low.
Yeah, it's very tight because you have to jump and thrust sword in that with a very low ceiling.
Yeah.
With the full Alucard hitbox. So it's not like, with Wolf it's substantially easier to get through there because the Wolf hitbox is longer than it is tall.
Yep. Yeah, we were messing around with that yesterday, and it's super easy. You just run and jump, and you make it through basically every time. And then this is it. We're all of that work just to wail on this plant lady over and over again.
For yet another farming session. Luckily, this one was just incredibly. I got so lucky.
This is up there with one of the rarest drops in the game. For reference, this drop is required in another lengthier, glitchy category, Pacifist. And when Rom Scout... Oh, there it is. Nice.
Isn't that crazy?
That was like 6 or 7 kills.
I know, dude. That was insane.
For reference, Rom Scout's estimate for finishing that run in a marathon setting, where you do have to do this one grind, that one grind alone, I think his estimate was 16 hours.
Yeah. It took him 18 hours.
18 hours.
In his practice run.
Yep. So, just some old Soten lore for you guys.
It's a very rare drop.
Yeah. And I think it's very similar. Maybe Pacifist, you don't actually have luck mode active. I can't remember.
No, Pacifist is just run in normal Alucard.
Yeah. So it's less strict than, 18 hours worth of grinding, but I think mine took about like 45 minutes to drop in my run or something like that.
That's pretty average, I would say.
It's very uncommon.
I also have the world record in Pacifist as well, if anyone wants to check that out. It's a pretty good run.
Maybe we should do that one next.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. But yeah, so all of that, now we don't have to worry about farming. We don't have to worry about leveling up on a specific time or anything like that. We can just play the video game.
Kind of. We have one more stupid glitch.
Play the video game the way that it was intended to be played, which is not really. Coming up here, saving beforehand makes sense because you can soft lock if you mess this up. But yeah. I guess I'll let it play out in its entirety just for the sake. Do you get it first try? I assume you do.
Yeah, I think I have like a quick false start, but then after that, it's just one. It's a one and done.
I think it took me 2 tries on mine, 2 or 3, because your positioning it's not like pixel perfect, but it still requires some tight positioning at the very start of this trick. So what we're doing here, you do the backdash setup. Okay, that makes sense. I tried doing it with the front slide, which I think was my mistake, because the front slide
that sounds substantially more difficult.
It's technically faster to do with the front slide because you're moving across the ground at 4.5 pixels per frame instead of 3.5 pixels per frame. So it requires less heart refreshes, but setting up the exact positioning with a front slide is way harder than setting up the exact positioning.
You'd probably lose time in the setup that you would save from the speed.
yeah, it's like technically optimal, but in practice it doesn't actually save you time. So I went for it because I thought it would be better, but this definitely is the right way to go about it. So as you said
Yeah,
before,
this is just like it's a lot easier to just eyeball it this way.
so as you said before, what was it? 33 of these?
Yeah, I had to sit here and count 33 heart refreshes to because the Galaxy Brain Tiny Iframes Diagon was like, why don't you just farm for the heart refreshes? And I was like, I don't think that'll be faster, but I don't think anyone's tested it either. So I went here, I counted up the heart refreshes that I use, and then I calculated the odds, and I came to about 8 hours with good luck just to farm 33 heart refreshes.
And that's with good luck. On average luck, it's probably like worse than that. Like probably significantly more hours. Like
Oh yeah.
then you're looking at like another 18-hour run kind of situation.
Sorry, average iframes.
Yes. But yeah, this is the last major. Yeah, because you don't have to do like shaft skip or any like boss skips or anything like that. It's like Richter skip, and then relic skip, and those are pretty standard at this point.
Yeah, we've seen them.
Although you do get to do the bat version of Richter skip, which isn't seen nearly as often anymore because it's been obsoleted, but it has its I don't know. I liked it for when it was used for its time. Maybe I'm just nostalgic.
I do the family value version of the bat skip where I use a heart refresh.
That's fine. Yeah. It increases the pixel window of where you need to jump by a lot, and it makes it a 2-frame window instead of 1. So
it basically makes it free.
Yeah, it's with the heart refresh, it's super duper free. But yeah, I'm
Without
a little
heart refresh, it's nearly impossible. I want to say. It's real. It's such the bat version of the Richter skip is so stupid.
It's stupid because you need to set up your pixel in a very like it's free to do if you have a throwable, but for whatever reason setting up that position using only a shield is really really hard. It's like a very tight frame window to because you're doing a backdash that's canceled with a specific animation. So you could have set it up with the Buffalo Star probably, but I've never like when I started speedrunning this game, like the wolf strat was the de facto way to do it. So that's what I learned. That makes sense. Yeah.
I never until very recently learned the proper setup for bat skip.
Yeah.
But when you use a heart refresh, you don't even have to set it up. You just stand on the stairs
and then
wherever.
Just go for it. Yeah. It's very very it like if you have the heart refresh, it makes sense. It probably is technically time loss, but it's like the setup that you have to do for the trick alone already costs you like 2 to 3 seconds. So you're not.
And in a category where you're farming for 45 minutes with good luck, like a minute here or there doesn't really matter.
It really doesn't. Yeah. But yeah, I'm a little nostalgic, I guess, for this skip because when I first started, it was like the second day. No, I started learning this game in 2013, like the day before that bat skip was found. So the very first stream I booted up was me trying to clip into the floor for Richter skip, having like never really ran this game before. And I think Turbo like joins my chat and is just like, "What the fuck are you doing?" This is such
I remember those early streams, man. That was when I just got into Soten. Yeah. And I remember you like sitting, you had the webcam as you were sitting cross-legged on your floor, barefoot.
Yep.
This is before the Twitch toss changed.
Yep. Yeah, those are there's some video footage of that era still lying around somewhere. But yeah.
Wow. A peek into Soten's dark history.
Most of my PBs are highlighted. There's a couple that, like, if I got multiple PBs in one day, I just highlighted the best one. But yeah, again, there it is. That version of that version of the Richter skip is like very, very rarely seen. It's basically this category is the only one where it's actually required anymore, from my understanding. Because every other category just uses the wolf version. Actually, low percent mist does use that version of Richter skip, but you use mist instead of bat, and that one 100% requires a heart refresh. You can't do it with just mist. But it's a very similar thing. The way that skip works, I guess if you're curious of the mechanics behind it, is when you're transforming, there is a one frame window, from my understanding, where the game is checking, or the game no longer checks to see if Alucard is there, I guess. Like, you don't have a hitbox, essentially, for the game to run its checks for your positioning. If I'm remembering correctly, that's a way you can think about it, essentially. So you're entering the room, and on the frame that you're entering the room, you basically aren't there. So the game loads the default room for that area, which is, for whatever reason, Richter having been freed from Shaft's spell or whatever. So it's just maybe not a coincidence either way. It just happens to be that if you enter the room in that way, it doesn't load the room where you have to fight Richter, because those are loaded as two separate like areas in the game, essentially.
Yeah, Diagon brings up a good point, and every time I enter the elevator, I am terrified that I'm accidentally going to pick up the Wolf Relic and void my run.
That would be sad, but also funny.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, I was going to mention something like that earlier with the Cube of Zoe when you were going back through the entrance. Like, I remember the handful of run attempts I did, I reset like 2 or 3 times because I would pick up Cube of Zoe as like out of instinct. Just because it's every run you go out of your way to grab it.
Now, I'm going to bring up my route in a second, but first I just want to say, anyone who thinks that the wolf skip is, like, difficult, you should be so thankful we live in a post-wolf skip world. Yeah. Because the bat skip was way worse.
Yeah,
anyway.
It's slower. The setup is way more finicky. Like, the way that you have to set up your pixel position, you have to do a very specific kind of jump, and sometimes you'd have to jump twice just to set up the exact position.
I'm only going through the Deathwing's lair because I don't have mist, and I absolutely refuse to do the imp room without wolf misting.
Yeah. If you can't mist there, it's probably not even faster at that point. You don't have leap stone to jump up because it's manageable if you're able to just like double jump up the platforms, but they're just high enough that you can't make it with a single jump. So you have to transform into bat to get up those platforms. Ooh, yeah, this guy really sucks in this category. Oh, you're 2 hits away from dying.
Yep.
Yeah, so because you don't have mist, you have no way to change your momentum after the wing smash.
And you literally have to fall after you untransform.
Yeah. Yep. Just fly around him. That makes sense. But yeah, your movement options are limited. That's why you don't see the imp room in this category, because it wouldn't even be faster at that point, even though you're technically taking a more optimal path. The obstacles in that path are just not worth going through. And you have to deal with that sword dude anyways. The not Vandal sword. Can't think of their name right now. Yeah.
Is Pacifist based on the 1-kill/BEAT 200.6 head? I can't make heads or tails of that question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Azagal, thank you for the name of that. But Pacifist is based off of the kill count in the game. Because the game keeps track of every enemy you killed. So when you open the menu, I think it starts at 0, and you just stay at 0 the entire run. And that's the only caveat, basically.
Yeah, Dracula and Shaft don't give any XP, so you finish the game on level 1 with 0 XP. It's pretty cool.
Yep. Here is, classic relic skip. You doing an RSL to skip past the save room, puts you in the ceiling, and then you go to the other save room on the other side, having skipped needing the 5 Vlad relics to open that room.
And I just want to say I do this slow method because at this point at the point of this run, it was like 5 years since I ran any percent, and I just I don't have the muscle memory for the wing smashes that you need to do.
Yeah, you have to
just get to the middle of the room.
Yeah, you have to chain.
Flickering screen warning.
Yeah, flashing screen warning. We'll tell you when it's done. But yeah, the reason why is you have to chain minimum 6 flashing screen warning is over, but you have to chain minimum 6 wing smashes in a row, and if you drop any of them, it's you fall out of the ceiling. You land on top of the those guardians, and if they're in their swinging animation, they're going to hit you with their strongest attack, and I wouldn't be surprised if you just straight up died from it.
Yeah, it's definitely one hit
Yeah.
at this level.
Yeah, in luck mode in general, you're so many things in the second castle will big toss you, and if it doesn't kill you, it could big toss you into the wall and then combo you into another attack. Yeah, this route is definitely not new by any chance. Like, this stuff has been known for a long time. It's just that it's such a niche category because all of the tricks themselves are it's difficult. It requires a lot of practice and understanding of the game's mechanics to even like execute a run like this. But it is nice that there are runs of it done so that way we can watch in awe and not have to actually do it ourselves.
Yeah, quite a few of us have run this. I think there are like 5 RTAs of it.
I think so, yeah. Desquall, me, you, Mecha Richter, and Rom?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to check out some of those runs, I think all of those runs, or at least one attempt of each player's, is on speedrun.com/soten/forum, and there is a pinned thread. So at the very top, there's a thread called Cool Categories that aren't tracked on the leaderboard. And yeah, you can check out those runs and many more runs from other really dumb categories that are really competitive.
If you're ever curious, like, why isn't this category on the leaderboard? It's probably in that forum post, and the main reason is that there's just no just demand, I guess, for it to be tracked as a leaderboard. They're more of like a for fun show kind of run. They're not as like a competitive speedrun type run. But
yeah, I think a good rule of thumb is like if there are less than 10 people competing for a time in that category, it's probably not worth having a leaderboard for.
Yep.
In Soten, anyway. If if it's your game that you just love and you want people to see your run, by all means, be a moderator on speedrun.com for it.
Yeah. In general, I also, at least for Soten, it seems like the categories that get tracked almost always are ones that are more consistent and less luck-based overall. They're more just like, for lack of a better term, competitive. Like, it's kind of subjective.
They're just too niche to be competitive.
Yeah, they're niche. They require like random drops, and yeah. Either way, that was a good time. I think you guys, I don't know, I enjoyed it. I love this category. I think it's really interesting. Actually running it is a pain in the ass, but having a finished, completed run does feel quite good, I will say.
Yeah. It's an accomplishment to finish a low percent bat run.
Yep, that is for sure. It feels so accomplished. I never feel like I have to do it again. So
got it out of the system.
Yep. Very interesting. Yep. There's a couple more categories like that that are interesting. Maybe we can do this again sometime with your pacifist run. That could be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah. Thanks for stopping by and showing everybody this really cool run.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Have a good day, chat. Have a good day, Blitz.
Yeah. See you later, dude.
See ya.